line. It's funny because we've complained about the offensive line for a long time, and the 49ers don't put a lot of assets into the offensive line. They've said themselves, like, hey, if we feel like there's a good player that's going to touch the football available, we're gonna choose that over offensive line. It's just their philosophy. That being said, they have literally the worst starting center in the NFL by a mile. I think like out of 42 ranked centers in PFF, he's 42nd.
I've seen some film. I've seen some film. Was it the one where
He's
he got knocked
awful.
over?
He gets not. That's every game. What game?
Yeah.
That's literally every single game. He ends up on his butt at least twice. That's every game that he's ever played. So yeah, I mean, there is some weak spots on the offensive line, but as much as we complained about it, Dominic Pooney has kind of anchored this thing enough to where you look at the advanced analytics, whether you go to PFF, NFL.com, ESPN.com, the 49ers as a pass blocking unit is actually a top 10, maybe closer to top 5 pass blocking unit, which is crazy. Oddly enough, they're not great in run blocking this year, but they've done a good job, and film backs that up. You watch them, they protect Brock Purdy pretty well. I think it was the Vikings game. I think they had 6 sacks. And of course, that was the second game of the season. Everybody's like, "Oh, this offensive line, here we go again." Well, when you go back and watch it, I thought all 6 sacks were on Brock Purdy personally. I thought he held onto the ball too long. He was double clutching, passing up receivers, leaving clean pockets. And PFF almost agreed with me. I think they said 4 out of the 6 were on Brock. But the offensive line's done a pretty good job this year. Yeah, obviously, if Trent Williams is out, that completely changes things, and if Pooney's out, that changes things. But I'm not so worried about the offensive line holding up. But if Trent doesn't play, everything's out the window. They do need to invest though in the trenches more. And here's what's interesting: Kyle Shanahan 3 years ago, I'll never forget this quote, said, "The center position is the heartbeat of my offense." And then he's proceeded to play Jake Brendel year after year after year. That doesn't make any sense to me. But he said that, and I believe him. I was hoping they would draft Bo Limmer. He was available. They took Jarrett Kingston, who didn't even make this roster, at guard out of USC. Bo Limmer was right there, and he's been pretty good. So,
yeah. The Bills really like their depth there with they took Van Pran Granger,
like
the guy that they've liked. He's earned a role. He's now the backup center. The Bills will invest now. So they were like the 49ers where they were similar, where they're not necessarily with weapons. They were the defense. Like if there's a, Von Miller, if there's somebody available, we're taking them. And like there's definitely been some big hits. There's been some misses. The Bills trading for Rasul Douglas, for instance, like they will feel interested in adding to that defense in any moment. However, their offensive line was an issue for many years. It's finally top 5 in a lot of metrics. The Bills got it right drafting Spencer Brown. He had some critics, but he's been very good. He's been very good lately. We were very nervous going into the Chiefs game with him out, missing his first game in a long time. Ryan Vandemark, a guy that they designated as an undrafted free agent, played really well for the Bills, and they were lucky to have him. They drafted Grable, a guy that's developed, who won the swing tackle job. Van Pran Granger's won the backup center job. And they put a lot of money into Connor McGovern, the other Connor McGovern, the spot starter from the Cowboys. Came over, played good guard, and then transitioned to the center. He's been better than Mitch Morse. So the Bills, they said, you know what? Mitch had some limitation, really good in pass protection, really good line calls, struggled mightily in the run. And they replaced him. They didn't have any problem cutting him and just said, we're moving McGovern over. Aaron Kromer's been a revelation for the Bills. Ian Dawkins is playing his best football. David Edwards is his hand-chosen left guard from the Rams. And the Bills they usually have the same unit for years, second year in a row with mostly the same unit. And they're going to continue that into the third year. So that definitely matters. But Aaron Kromer's been a big advantage for the Bills. It's really helped Josh Allen a whole lot more than weapons so far this season. In our opinion, the offensive line's been good. The Bills don't allow sacks. That's partially Josh. But the offensive line has been good. I think Computer Cowboy just gave the Bills the 5th best, and I saw the 49ers as his 10th. So they've played solid offensive line football per 3 different metrics.